I'd like to demonstrate just how to make this little shape. This is a shape that's made up of 4 intersecting hexagons, roughly in the same orientations as the sides of a tetrahedron, but intersecting. So there's like one. That's just some kind of hexagon shape, right? The same size. And you've got an extra ring around in the middle there, and you can see, I don't know if you can see easily, but there's effectively 4 hexagons there. So it's a very effective looking little shape, very nice, and you can make this is slightly bigger than you have to make, just to make it clear what it looks like, but you can make it quite small, and you could make quite a nice little one with just a single set. First I'm going to make one with a bigger set, because it'll be easier to see what I'm doing, but then I'll show how to make the middle smaller, and therefore make the whole shape smaller. Okay, I'll put this over here, and I'll take this away. You start off with 4 of these. Those are rings of 6, and 4 9s. 4 triangles made of 9. Okay, and sorry about that. You put them together with a 6 ring connected to each point of each triangle. Oop, falling over. Okay, and then in between each of the 6 rings, every second ball, notice, you connect another triangle. And then into there. Okay. I don't know if you can hear that, that's the sound of possums going into my roof. And then into the remaining triangles, 3 triangles, 3 positions of the hexagon. So that was the hexagon. And we put the triangle into each corner. So it looks like it's a big triangle, but it started out as just a hexagon. And we clipped it into that triangle, then this triangle, then this triangle, this triangle. So they all look like triangles. You could also view it as like 6 rings, 8 6 rings with 1 ball in between each 6 rings. So in between every 2 6 rings. Okay, and you end up with a shape that's made of 4 triangles. Sorry, 8 triangles. They're like the corners of a cube, right? Or the sides also of an octahedron. The squares, be a bit careful about them, because the magnetic field, even though in the triangles it goes around in a loop, here it's not a loop. It goes this way on one and this way on the other, and this way and then this way. So you can't put another ring around the square, whereas you can put a ring around the triangle. And in fact, that's exactly what you do. You keep going. So perhaps you can already see that there's a hexagon there on the side there, and then let's see, another hexagon there. But what you do is on top of every triangle you clip a ring of 9. There's no special order, just so long as they clip on. And then what you can do, once you have enough of them, start just getting another single magnet. Just take a little line of magnets here. A little line, and you can just clip it into the gap between the triangles. It starts forming up new triangles. Okay, it's just as simple as that. You just keep. In fact, if you add the points at the start, it might even be easier to put on the little 9 loops. So I'll put the points on. It's better to add it as a loop and then put the points on after you make it. It just seems to work better. That time the point sort of formed itself, so I had to do that. At least don't put the points on until you've got at least one of the triangles in place. And you just go around like that. And then, oh, what happened is the point wanted to go in, so then there wasn't enough left. It sort of formed its own point. Okay, and then you just make sure all the triangles are formed up properly with your fingers. Sometimes they want to spread out a bit. Now you've already got the shape. And that shape, the inner rings, there was the equivalent of, oh well, there was 4 9s, it's 36 for the triangles, and 4 6s is 24. So there's only like 60 for the inner triangle, and the outer triangle is, sorry, inner layer, and the outer layer is, I don't know, it'd be 8 9s, which is 72, and then another 12 points on this thing, I think, so 84. So it's, you know, less than a set anyway. I guess it's 660 and 84, so 144. So you make that easily. What I'm going to do, I'm going to make another layer just to show how it just keeps going. And you just put it on, making sure it sort of sits evenly. Oops, it didn't want to sit evenly. So whenever it doesn't sit, whenever it sort of jumps in and puts its own, makes its own point, that means somewhere else you've got to adjust it so that the one that ended up here, you've got to put another one on somewhere else to make up for the fact that it's gone there. Well, I'll put the points on before I start, that'll be easier. It's a bit awkward putting the points on before you put the rest of it in place. It makes it hard to get it to sit right then. That's why I'm adding them at the end. Once you get the hang of it, it's actually a very straightforward shape. And you can keep going and going. I can make this as big as I wanted. Now if I wanted to, I made the middle of that quite large actually, but that was, so it would be quite clear how it was made, but I could make the middle a lot smaller. I could make up 6 rings after I got confused. Okay, there's your initial components again. I think what I meant to do was make up triangles like this. In fact, I know that's what I meant to do. Okay, so you have 4 little triangles, 4 big ones. It's easy for me to say I know, because if I'm wrong, I can just not put the not put the video up on YouTube. But I actually do know, so it's alright. Okay, so I'm just poking each of these six triangles, the points of them, into the gap of one of the little 3 triangles. And what happens there is that each of the little 3 triangles, when you put the point of another triangle into the 3 triangle, it makes up another 6 triangles. So you get the illusion of all 6 triangles. But actually you've got triangles made of 6 balls interspersed or sticking into these triangles made of 3 balls, and then because they've got these 3 balls sticking into them, that actually looks like a 6 triangle. And then you just do the same deal again. You've got the little 6 triangles, you put 6 on them, 6 loops on them, and then onto those 6 loops you put another ball, so you end up with a 9 triangle, and that'll be a layer that looks like the middle layer of that, the initial layer of that one. Make another 6 loop, put it on, and just keep going around putting them on. loop. And then at the end you've got to straighten them all out. Or not at the end yet. You can see the shape is taking shape. This one has much fewer balls. Making it up. There you go, and it looks quite effective. You could actually make one with make this with one of those micro sets, and you can use this as a primitive or as a subunit for you know, because then these are loops. You can you know, stack them next to each other, and you got a tetrahedron pattern. Or you can't easily stack the squares next to each other. You can do it, but you've got to make sure they line up properly, and they tend to you know, because the electric field isn't like a nice circle. It just gets a bit awkward when you're doing it, but you can do it. Now what you can also do is make two of these and share this triangle between two of them. So you put two next to each other, and the outer triangle is shared by both of them, and that makes something that's very strong. And you can do that. You can do that one with the squares. You take carefully take one square off, one layer of square, and then clip that into the final position on another one, and you can get a nice, very, very strong three-dimensional shape like that. Okay. And if you look down at my very earliest videos, you'll see shapes that are kind of like these, but with many more layers. I've called them intersecting shapes mostly, and intersecting